Hi everyone, this is Sandy Reese with StampCrew.com. I'm an independent Stampin' It demonstrator. I've got another really cute Halloween treat box for you today. I'm super excited about this one. I use the Nested Essential Dies, which is in the annual catalog, and I use two of these shapes right here because they're a little bit coffin shaped. So I use the large, or not the largest, which one's the largest? This is the largest. I used the medium too for this one. And the candy I used, because I was making a coffin, is these Count, like Dracula Kit Kat bars. And I found these at Walmart. But they're little, they're shaped like little vampires when you open them. And I picked some of this green out of here, and I used some lemon lime twist on the coffin. You'll see in just a minute, to pull out some of the colors that are in the candy. And then I also used the Fright Night bundle. I used a sentiment out of here, and then I used a spider, the spider web, and then the banner. And then I did this one. I think I did Happy Halloween. But, you know, the Eat, Drink, and Be Scary would be a good one, too, I think, on this one. So, let's show you the box. Now, this has been a little bit abused from class. It's a little bit tricky, but the box opens up. We actually have two Count Draculas kind of stacked in there. And then the top fits over the bottom. So, let me show you how to make this. All right, I'm going to show you my template first. This is for cutting the sides. So we have the top, which is 1.5 by 10.5. Then the bottom's 1.5 by 10.25. So it's a little bit smaller. Okay, and it's really the same all the way down to the end. And I just made this end panel a little bit smaller so our top would fit over the bottom. All right, you can take a screenshot. These little marks are all my cutting marks, and I'll show you that in a second. I'll just scoot that up while I cut those, and you're going to cut them the same. I'm going to find my scissors here. Okay. The score line, it's a 1/2 inch from the bottom. And so I'm just notching all of my score lines. And I don't need the little teeny tab on the side, so I'm going to just cut that there. And I could probably even cut that one there. Okay, let's just notch all of our bottom tabs. This is probably the trickiest box that we did during our treat class. But, you know, we got to stretch ourselves sometimes, learn some new things. Okay, that's the first one. Get that out of there. And when I notch these, I'm only notching to the score line. I don't need that skinny tab there. I use basic gray for my box, and that's just because black doesn't give me any chance to shade it, and I wanted to do a little bit of some fun sponging on here. Okay, so that's basic gray. So we have our top and our bottom. Our top is larger, so this is going to be my top. I'm going to set these aside, and my bottom's on the bottom. Okay, we pulled in. I use for the larger one, it's the second largest in the die set, but this is my coffin bottom and top. And then I cut the next smaller one for a little decoration on the top of the coffin. But before I glue anything together, I take just a little basic gray and a sponge dauber. I'm going to do a little sponging on the top, on the DSP. To make it look kind of old and aged, and And then I can take and do a little bit on here too. I'm not going to worry about the bottom. That's going to be sitting on the bottom. So nobody's going to look at that. Okay. I've already pre-cut my banner too, so let's just go ahead and sponge that while we have this out. Just going to do a light sponge on this one. This is Lemon Lime Twist. If you make this, you do whatever color you want. We'll go ahead and stamp while we're at it. Since the ink is out, we're going to just stamp Happy Halloween on that banner. Cute. That's all the stamping we're doing. Set that aside. Okay, adhesive is what I'm looking for. I'm just going to glue this to the top of my box. And I'm going to go ahead and make my box. The top is this one. So we'll make our box top. I'm going to fold on all of the score lines. I'll give those a quick crease. And then scored many times across here. And that last tab. So I'm going to take this tab, this little side tab, you could use tear and tape if you want. I'm going to put this to the other end and just hold that, let that glue, let that adhere to itself. So you can kind of see we have our little coffin shape, just like that. It's a little wonky right now, but we're going to flip this over. And you can see right here, it will fit on our lid, but we want to make sure that we have the same amount of space kind of going around. So what I'm going to do is do my bottom on one end, kind of set that down, and let that sit for a second. So it kind of gives me a little bit of stability. And then I can glue the rest of it on. Give it just a second to set. Just that one tab. And then I'm using liquid glue because it lets me maneuver a little bit and move it around. Just gives me, you know, a few seconds so that I can maneuver and slide it or straighten it out. Put this one out this way and this way. See if I can get that a little straighter. Okay. See, it gave me just enough leeway to kind of put that around and get it fairly centered on the lid of the coffin. Now, do I have a little glue inside? Yeah, but that's okay. If you get a little of that extra glue, it stays sticky. So if you want, you can take your embossing buddy and just give it a little dab inside. And that will take the stickiness away. Also looks like dust. Okay. So that is the bottom, or the top of the box. Oh, I was going to do my bottom first. That's okay. One of the ladies did a little trick where she did the bottom first and then wrapped the top around it and then set the lid on top, which I think is an excellent idea. Did I do that? No. I'm going to try it the opposite way. So I did my top first, and now I'm doing my bottom. Let me get all these folded. And we're going to see if this works. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and glue my flap just like I did on the other side. Get that set. Okay, now I'm going to just set it inside the top of my box. A little snug, but that's good. Okay, isn't that awesome? Look at that. Okay, so next I'm going to, this is just a nice easy way so it's all kind of lined up without too much struggle. All right, now I'm going to set my box bottom on here. And I'm just going to kind of feel with my fingers and make sure it's even on all the sides. Flip it over. Give it a good press for a minute. Oh, it's not dry yet. Okay, we're going to give it a minute to dry. So the theory, now I'm trying this, okay, because this is an idea she gave me, which I thought was really good. We're going to let that dry for a minute. I have die cut the spider web out of the Peaceful Garden glimmer paper. This is supposed to be, I think, cloud cover or something else, but it looks silver to me, which is why I use this. Okay, got to get all these pieces out, so that's good to do while that's drying. May not have die cut through all the way at the top. We can fix that. Let me find the die that goes with that. So if this happens and you have something that doesn't cut through and you realize it later, just line this all back up in your die, nice and flat, and then you can recut it and cut through that area. Bring this over real quick. Hopefully I run that through. Let's take a look. Yeah, you can see it's die cut a lot better there. Okay. Pop right out. Okay, now I'm hoping that's glued enough so it's going to stick down. Give that an extra press, and that just came right out. Let's see. And it fits right back in. It's snug, so it's not going to fall apart. We're going to put our Count Draculas in there. So cute. Okay, I know I say that a lot, but it is. Okay, I'm going to put just a little bit of glue, and I probably should have used a sticker sheet for this, or an adhesive sheet. I didn't. Okay, I'm going to put it right here, going along this line of the DSP. All right, I'm going to grab a black marker. You could also use one of our journaling pens, and I'm just going to do a straight line down this way. Use whatever you have, and I'm going to do it to about there. And I'm looking for my die cut spider. There he is, right there. Do I have a little black mini glue dot? I'm going to put on the back of the spider. And he's going to be hanging down from that string, just like that, from his web. And then we'll take a couple for our banner. Put that right there. And because we have stars, we're going to use these as well. I'm going to use the black ones. I'll do a big one. I'll put a medium one up there, and then a small one down there. Isn't that adorable? Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's project. I'll post the measurements and supplies on my... Okay, I hope that didn't cause an issue. It was blurry on my end. So I hope you enjoyed the project, and yeah, card class projects will come to you free with a $50 online order. And I will see you next time. I'll see you Thursday for card class projects. All right, bye everybody.